Tiny House Prepper.
Hi everybody, I'm Bill from Tiny House Prepper. I'm here alone. Elizabeth is still out in Seattle, so that's why she's not in the video with me. But anyway, here I am in our sunroom. Since it's summer, I'm out here enjoying this. Today I want to answer a question that we get a lot, and that is, why don't we have a garden? I have had a number of people say you can't be a real prepper unless you have a garden. That's how you have to prepare for emergencies. Well, let me first of all explain the difference between prepping and homesteading, because there really is a difference. Ultimately, they have the same goal, or at least one of the same goals, and that is to be able to survive during times of emergency, especially serious national emergency when everything breaks down. Both of them should hopefully be able to sustain themselves. But they go about it in a totally different way. It's a totally different mindset. Basically, preppers buy and store everything they need to get through a difficult time. And homesteaders self-produce everything that they need to get through a difficult time. A prepper can do it anywhere. Anyone can do it. You don't have to have any kind of special anything. You could do it in the 8th floor of a high-rise apartment building in the middle of a big city. It's basically just buy stuff and store it. Homesteading, on the other hand, you have to have some land, and you have to have zoning that will allow it. And prepping, you don't have to change anything. You don't have to change your lifestyle. You can continue doing whatever it is you're doing, whether you live in the country or the city. If you're, an executive that travels all the time, or no matter what your lifestyle is, you can buy stuff and you can bring it home and store it. Homesteading, on the other hand, is a whole complete lifestyle within itself. We call it homesteading now, but really that's just a new name for something that's been around for hundreds and thousands of years, and it's basically the small family home, or the small family farm. In order to homestead, you got to raise, food. You got to have a garden. A more involved homestead would have chickens and rabbits and goats and things like that. Basically, you got to be a farmer, and everything that goes along with the mentality of being a farmer. Prepping is to prepare for the future. Homesteading is a here and now lifestyle. You can't decide, oh, I'm going to be a homesteader if the economy crashes, or I'm going to be a homesteader when there's an emergency. You got to do that now. You got to live it. But a prepper, you can just put it away and for the future and not worry about it. So that's the big difference between the two. Ultimately, they both want to get through emergency situations, but a homestead does it right now, and they have more, just the whole lifestyle thing that preppers don't have. So why don't we have a garden? Well, several reasons. First of all, quite frankly, I don't want to be a farmer. I don't want to do that lifestyle. It sounds great. It sounds romantic to be able to raise everything you need and raise rabbits and all that kind of stuff. But it's a lot of work. And right now I'm driving my truck 65 hours a week, and then every Sunday I spend the whole morning in church and the whole afternoon with my elderly father. So that's that day's gone. I just simply don't have the time to do that. It's a whole totally involved lifestyle that I'm not interested in, quite frankly. I don't have the time for. Now, for those of you who are homesteaders, I think it's wonderful. I really do. It's just not for me. So with the kind of lifestyle I have, driving a truck 65 hours a week, all I can do is prep. So we buy the food we need, Thrive. And other things that we can't get from Thrive, we have in cans from the grocery store. And we have the other things that we need, a wood stove and things like that, to get us through a winter when there's no power. But I'm just not interested in living that. I don't want to be a farmer. for one thing, you're tied down to the land. If you're going to go anywhere, and especially if you've got animals, if you're going to go anywhere for more than 2 days, you're going to have to find somebody who's going to be able to tend the animals for you. I like to travel. I like to travel a lot, and I don't want to be tied down by the animals, especially because it's only going to be another year or maybe 2, and I'll be able to retire from driving the truck. And when I do, Elizabeth and I plan on getting a camper van, and we're going to travel. And we're going to travel extensively, like months at a time. And it's hard to grow a garden when you're gone for, July and August and part of September. It just wouldn't work. So even if we would grow a garden now, within a year or 2, our lifestyle, which would be traveling a lot in our camper van all over the country, just wouldn't work with a garden. And the other main reason that we don't have a garden is because we don't have room on our property. Yeah, we own land, but it's only 50 feet by 100 feet, and it just isn't enough room to do anything. Come here, come along, and I'll show you what I mean. Here's the front of our house, and this is our front yard. Trees. Nothing but trees. First of all, I wouldn't want to take down these big trees for a garden. But second, Property Owners Association would not allow us to take down these trees. So I come over here, and our property line, there's our neighbor right there. See how close we are? Our property line is right here, and there's trees. We have one little spot right here. So she planted this little thing, and I can never remember the name of it. I'm sorry. We have one little spot here about 4 or 5 feet square that we get some sun. Then we come around to the back of the property. Now I'm walking the property line right now, when whoever set this trailer initially set it right, the corner right on the property line. Here's our backyard. Looks like good space, but see those trees right there? They are just off of our property line, so we couldn't touch them even if we wanted to. And they create shade. That is south, right there, and a little bit east. And they create shade for almost the entire yard for the entire day. There's only one little spot from about here over to this property line. One little spot right in here, about maybe 10 feet square, maybe 100 feet. That gets partial shade for several hours in the day, and that's it. The whole rest of the property, the backyard, is in shade the entire time. Now see the extent of our garden. We got 4 little tomato plants right here. I wasn't even going to plant these, but somebody gave them to us this spring as little, it came in the little flats like you would buy from Lowe's. So I just dug a hole, 4 holes, and planted them. I didn't even do anything. So that's the extent of our garden. But there just simply isn't room. Yeah, we could grow some things here, but it wouldn't be anything more than a hobby. We couldn't really grow enough to live on. And that would be my only purpose for having a big garden, would be to try to homestead, like, to be able to sustain ourselves, and this just isn't enough to be able to do that. So as you can see, homesteading doesn't really work for us. I just don't want to be a farmer, and we just don't have the room. We could, like I said, we could grow a little garden, but it wouldn't be enough to sustain us. And I know you can do intensive bed gardening and get an awful lot out of a little bit. I understand that. But in order to sustain yourself for a full year out of that garden, you got to have considerably more room than what I've got. So anything we would do would just be a hobby. So we're preppers. By choice, we're preppers and not homesteaders. Now, many people do both, and that's the best solution, I think. But prepping and homesteading both have advantages and both have disadvantages. Homesteaders say to me all the time, if you're just a prepper and you got a year worth of food set aside, what do you do when you run out of food? And that's a serious problem. That's a serious question. What do you do if you run out of food and you don't have any way to replenish yourself? Granted, I'll give you that. However, and so they say you should be sustainable, you should grow your own food. However, here would be my question to a homesteader, whether it's a 30-acre farm someplace or a 2-acre lot that's more suburban where somebody's growing a lot of food. My question to you is, what do you do when everything crashes and there's anarchy in the streets? Your garden isn't going to last 2 days. When the food stops being shipped to the grocery store, all the grocery store shelves will be stripped within the first 2 days. 2 days after that, your garden will be stripped, unless you sit out there 24/7 with a shotgun to protect it. So, my question to you is, are you prepared to do that? So I don't see, in a real emergency, especially in a more populated area, I don't see a garden or homesteading as the answer, because I don't see how you could protect your crops from raiders. So like I said, they both have disadvantages, and that's why I think doing both is the best solution if you are into the farming mentality, which I'm not. But anyway, there it is. Only you can decide what's right for you, and you can mix both if you want. But for us, we are pretty much pure preppers by choice. We're just going to purchase and store the things that we need so that we can be free to travel and not have to worry about who's going to tend the animals while we're gone. So I hope that answers your question. And you guys have a good day. We'll see you next time.